Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Factutainment. As so far, I've been one of your hosts, Zero Yeti, and we're continuing our review of the Walk with Dinosaurs 2025 revival with third episode, Band of Brothers. I am joined by
Hi,
my.
I'm Orm. Oh,
Yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
I don't know if you're gonna introduce me or not, so I have to introduce myself. I'm Master 101.
Because you have
Oh, me
no
and Daddy are
patience.
fighting.
You have no patience. And then that voice was Beth,
Fuck you, Baltimore.
who hates Baltimore. And then we have Braden.
That is I. I.R. Braden.
He hates Wyoming.
Ohio, thank you very much. No.
No, this episode is about Utah.
Oh, wait, is it?
That's
Yes.
Braden.
Oh, wait, that's why they call it the Utah Raptor.
Braden, are you fucking
Did you
kidding
fall
me?
asleep during the episode
To
again?
be fair, in the original Walk with Dinosaur series, Utah Raptor shows up in England. So
I started to fall asleep during the episode one time for like 10 seconds. And then I caught myself, and I woke up, and I was fine.
You had to
I
call
just
you.
forgot.
No, we didn't. Okay, we didn't have to call him this time. I messaged him and was like, "Hey, we're in the chat right now. Are you still good to join us tonight?" And he jumped in, and it's all good.
4 I was good.
Yeah. Okay.
alright.
What was Band of Brothers about, Chris?
So Band of Brothers is set in the early Cretaceous period.
Uh-huh.
The Jonas
And
Brothers.
well, we first begin every one of these episodes, as we typically do, with scenes of paleontologists working on uncovering a totally real, not staged fossil site. This time
They have,
in Utah and the Cedar Mountain Formation.
and they kind of have to stage the fossil site so they don't actually destroy any fossils.
Yeah. Well, they don't technically have to. They don't have to stage it at all. They don't have to have the paleontology segments.
I think all paleontologists should die.
No, that's not what I said. That's what
Nick, I
Avery
noticed you
said.
haven't put in.
Nick,
I noticed you haven't put in the AI block code into uBlock Origin to get rid of the Google AI overlay.
I didn't know I could do that. I'm gonna be completely honest. I did not know that was a feature of uBlock Origin. I feel like Beth is loading a gun off screen. Okay.
Yes, because you're a paleontologist and you need to die.
I'm not technically a paleontologist. Well, not even that because I don't have a degree yet, and I probably won't get my degree because I don't drop out of college.
You're a Galeontologist. And pull
Anyway,
up.
it's Cedar Mountain Formation, and it follows paleontologists. There's a few paleontologists it follows, including Kirkland, who's notable for. They do a whole segment of the episode, but he and his team and like a couple of students found one of the best. Well, it's still being uncovered, but found one of the largest concentration of dromaeosaur dinosaurs in a block of Utah raptor skeletons that have all been like preserved and piled up on each other it's believed it was like a predator trap where there was an iguanodontid of some sort died, and maybe they killed it, or maybe it died and they were scavenging it, and then they all ended up getting trapped and then buried. And so until then, we only had like a fragmentary Utah raptor, and now there's several Utah raptor skeletons that are pretty well preserved. because of just one fossil find. But
no.
this episode primarily centers around. Go ahead.
Beth, you go first, and I'll say my thing.
What about New Jersey Raptor?
Now,
Dinosaurs from
Jay-
the East Coast are notoriously fragmentary.
I wonder why.
Because
Because they're walking here.
so dinosaurs from the East Coast, they were from. So this is coming from a time when, well, except for the Triassic, where we have some East Coast Triassic fossils, like Achysaurus that we covered about when we did our review of When Dinosaurs Roamed America. Anyway, so Appalachia was the eastern continent, and then you have Laramidia as the western continent. The reason there's not a lot of fossils known from dinosaurs in the East Coast is because the Appalachian Mountains were already formed.
Oh.
And so you had the very much not really conducive fossil area to for creatures to fossilize. On top of that, the Appalachian Mountains we have now, they used to be almost as tall as the Himalayas, and they've been worn down. So any fossils that would have been laid by dinosaurs in those areas over the next 66 million years have just eroded into nothing.
Anyway, the thing I was going to say. So,
Just like my knees.
James Kirkland. He was the what's the word? The paleontologist I was being weird about. The one with the red handkerchief, right?
Oh.
Yes.
The fat man.
I mean, he was kind of a cutie. James Kirkland, if you're watching this video, do you want to get dinner sometime?
I'm pretty sure he's married.
Damn it!
Why are the fat ones always straight?
Here's him being hugged by his wife.
Okay. Oh, I thought we had the "it should have been me, not him" sound effected. This is
Synophronychus, I believe.
Oh.
That he's posing with. Oh, and there's Pleuroplytes. Big ass ankylosaur. And there's Diabloceratops.
And the big ass. When's his swimsuit issue coming out?
I'll buy 5,000 copies. Anyway, I'll stop being weird.
No, you won't.
Wait, hey,
He wrote a Star Trek novel.
Interesting. That's what I was reading.
Yeah,
Holy
with continuity.
Hang on, I'll look it up. Star Trek First Frontier. First Frontier. The novel, not the movie.
Apparently he named Animatrix, Cedar Pelta, Ehadrosaurus, Eolambia, Jayawati, Gastonia,
TOS.
Memora Pelta, Ned Colbertia.
It has a dinosaur on the cover.
Utahraptor, Zuniceratops, Europelta, Diabloceratops, Gastonia, and Utahraptor, and Falcarius. Okay, so
posting this and recording, put it on screen.
Alright, 1 second.
It has a dinosaur in it.
Kirk and Spock fuck that dinosaur.
Kirk is stranded in an alternate timeline, and the fate of human existence hangs in the balance.
We seem to be in prehistoric Utah.
Anyway.
Boy.
So there is a Star Trek episode. There's a Star Trek episode where they found out that hadrosaurs lived and evolved into humanoid aliens and left Earth.
There's also one where like whales and dolphins are like sentient and have their own like are a sentient race that like explore the universe.
I mean, that's kind of, yeah, they have those in Lower Decks. Like they have them in the Next Generation, but don't actually show them. But if you look at the Enterprise's blueprints, you can see the cetacean pods and tubes and stuff. They help with navigation.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Anyway, Walking with Dinosaurs 2025 follows the story of what was his name? George. Yeah, Georgie the Gastonia, and his gang of biker peltas.
Yes.
As we put it.
What's the name of the dinosaur again?
Gastonia.
Yeah, they kept calling them the Gastonia Gang.
Gastonian gang.
We be smacking asses. Nope, that.
So yeah, Gastonia is a genus of somewhat small, thyreophore armored dinosaur.
Just like this image. Just like this image. Okay, hang on, Steg. You're not okay. You're only opening the thumbnail. You're not actually clicking on the image.
Alright.
That's why it's doing that.
There we go.
There we go.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Great. I was going to be saying that all episode.
I'm sorry. I have so many vocal stems that I can't help it.
Yeah. So the dinosaurs that feature in this episode are Gastonia, and Utah Raptor.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is one iguanodon that shows up very briefly.
And nothing else.
And that's the entire Cedar Mountain Formation, apparently.
Yeah, just guanodons and Utah Raptors.
Distracting iguanodons.
Oh yeah, that was the funny part. We'll talk about that when we get to it in just a second.
Oh, we found this iguanodon skeleton here, which means this iguanodon must have shown up once and distracted the predators, so they left, despite the fact they had perfectly good food.
What iguanodon did they say it was?
I not remember.
Was it like Plex Coaca or something?
It was the Mr. Flanders type.
1 second.
Brayden.
That's who it looked like.
You said Flounder and then Flander.
Yeah, because I forgot his name. I never really watched The Simpsons.
You said it looks like Flounder, and I'm like, the fuck do you mean it looks like a flounder?
Yeah. And then I had to specify not the fish, and then I was like, wait, Flanders was his name.
And thankfully, Brayden's weird comment distracted me so bad it kept me from saying that I thought the iguanodons looked like uncircumcised penises for a second.
And then you said it anyway.
For only a moment.
In our recording, right now.
I mean, c'est la vie, you know?
You didn't say la vie, you said something completely different.
Planet Coxa. So I guess to give a rundown, this is the Planet Coxa. It shows up incredibly briefly.
Okay, when you click on the picture, I need to know, Brandon, why did you think of Flanders from The Simpsons when you looked at this guy?
The mustache.
Yeah, which is the mustache beak.
Yeah.
I see.
So,
well, people with mustaches look the same to me.
To give a brief overview of the episode, we begin with a paleontology segment, as we often do. And then it cuts to, there's a scene of, there's a herd of Sauropelta, and they are eating in like this dense fern patch.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of adults, and there's one baby named George. And then the Utah Raptor pack shows up, and they try to eat them, and they fail, and one of the Utah Raptors gets smacked in the face by a Gastonia's tail, but then just shrugs it off because it was like, oh, it's just a little hit. And they would probably just straight up kill it.
I think I could shrug off.
It took a blow to the head from this like bladed tail weapon.
I think I could shrug off a Gastonia.
Or I'm surprised you haven't brought up twerking this all day.
Why would I bring up twerking?
Because they're standing around in a circle shaking their asses at these Utah raptors to defend their young.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Practical defensive twerking. Ooh.
No. Megan the Stallion is shook. Do people still use shook?
Excuse me, that's her. It's Megan the Stallion, not Megan the Stallion. Like it's a Sonic the Hedgehog character.
No, it's just one of those horses from that gotcha game.
Please, can we not talk
was...
about... I'm so fucking sick and...
Carol, no mercy, Carol!
It has literally been everywhere for the last 2 days. I cannot see it. I cannot not see it anywhere.
Please, can we... I'm so fucking sick and tired of the Yakuza horse racing game.
Anyway, so the Utah Raptors fail, and then it goes to a segment of paleontology again.
Mhm.
And they're talking about,
the narrator's like...
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to basically talk about the next thing.
The paleontology segment where they're, like, talking about, like, this thing had, like, an interesting, like, tail weapon, and also the fossil we found is of, like, a youngster. And then we cut to Georgie
like,
alone in the woods, and then he comes across another teenager.
Has been... Yeah. It's like the teenager has been cast out from the family for some reason.
That's common amongst animals, is, like, when the offspring get to a certain age, they usually get, like, pushed out of the group, and that's usually to prevent the herd from inbreeding a lot. So they go off and make their own.
Inbreeding would probably be considered vanilla.
God.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
I fucking hate it here.
Let's provide no context to that for you.
Then this is Georgie, and this is the leader of the group he joins.
His name, I will say, his name is just George. It's not Georgie.
We keep saying George. Anyway.
Georgie.
George the Gastonia joins this group, and we learn that it's all teenage guys. It's all like male teenage Gastonia, and they kind of like show off a bit, like size each other up by like pushing, like doing a pushing contest with their heads. But then it's revealed like, oh, they're not doing this like as a fight. They're doing it to size each other up to see if they're willing to work together, and then they just they form their own group and they go off exploring.
They waddle off.
Yeah, they waddle off into the forest. And then we have another paleontology segment.
That's one thing I noticed about the Gastonians is that they only have one fucking speed.
Which, yeah, when you're that armored and that heavily built, you're probably not going too fast. Okay, this is the paleontology segment where they...
it's that one low poly waddling possum video.
And there's a paleontology segment where I believe this is where they talk about they found this James Kirkland knows Noble for having found like the toe claw of a Utah raptor, which is one of the first evidences of like a raptor this size. And then we go to a segment on Utah raptor, once again hunting the Gastonia. And in dense forest.
The Utah Raptors do have their own like gang, like this counter gang. So it's like this Jets versus Sharks sort of thing. They keep trying to force. That doesn't really take off.
There's two notable models for the Utah Raptor. I believe the red ones are males, and there's also like a yellow female one. Let's see if I can find. They all
have these like stripes on their face.
Yeah.
While Chris is looking up a picture, I've noticed something with these episodes of Walking with Dinosaurs. It only seems like they focus on like one or two dinosaurs per episode, and then we literally do not see anything else in the episode except for these one or two dinosaurs. Because what was the
Well,
what
the
was the focus?
exception is the
I think some of the
Spinosaurus.
Was I there for the
other
Spinosaurus?
episodes are more. Well, the other episodes are more diverse than this one was.
Well, yeah, the first one
Like,
we
it
had
is noteworthy. There's no
four.
other-
Well, the first episode we had 4 prehistoric creatures. And the second episode we had Spinosaurus, Oncorhynchus, Caradonsaurus, Titanosaurus.
The fish.
Yeah, Oncorhynchus was the fish. Then you have the crocodile, and then you have the pterosaur and the amphibian. So you have 7 in the second one. So the second one's not bad. The first one you have 4. This one you have 3.
Barely.
Yeah. So this is like the
Hmm.
female design where it's like more like yellowish gray, brown. Anyway, so they are hunting the Gastonia young. The Gastonia young freeze in place, and then the Utahraptors kind of like they go off in search of different prey. And then we cut to another paleontological segment. I think they're talking more about Utahraptors. Oh yeah, this is where they first show the block. The famous block where there's like a bunch of Utahraptor individuals. That they found it. I think it was back in 2009.
Okay.
2001.
Utah raptors are all stacked on top of each other.
It's a 9-ton fossil block, of just filled with Utahraptors and like the one iguanodont. And they found it in like 2001, and they've just been slowly working on it since. Because there's so many bones per layer, you can only go like a couple inches at a time before you have more bones to pull out. So they have to go like very slowly through the block, which is kind of neat. So then you have that segment, and then it goes back to there's a river segment where the Gastonia are going to drink water. And you think it's just going to be a segment of like, okay, so it's just it's just them interacting with the environment more. But nope, the Utahraptors show up again. And this is probably the weirdest segment for me in the episode. Because you have the Utahraptors successfully take down and kill the leader Gastonia, which at least they show it like flipping him onto its back. I don't think a single Utahraptor could flip a Gastonia like it did. Maybe a couple working together could have. But just the one, I don't think so.
Oh, you know
But
what
then
they
again,
say?
like a bear can flip a boulder that's like 3 times its weight, so I don't know.
Well, you know what they say. The claw, the Utahraptor, is basically a can opener.
Yeah, they say that multiple times.
All those.
They don't
They did
ever
say
use
that.
it like a can opener.
They don't have any prehistoric peach cans.
Oh, yeah, so this thing Gastonia weighed almost 2 tons. I don't know if let's do a comparison on how much did Utahraptor weigh. If I remember correctly, it's like less than 1,000 pounds.
And then I don't know if it was true or not, but
Okay,
Georgie,
it's so they weigh about. Well, it's estimated to have been around 8,000, so about half a ton. I don't know if a half-ton Utahraptor could flip a 2-ton Gastonia by itself. Maybe working as a group they could have. But that's not the part that irks me the most. The part that irks me the most is they have this 2-ton Gastonia flipped on its back, they kill it, they begin eating it, and then the alpha Utah Raptor goes to fight George.
Yeah.
And the narrator's
He's in
like,
a
it's like
blood.
a
They said he was like a
fox and hen house. Yeah.
bloodlust or whatever.
Fox and hen house bloodlust wants to kill all of the Gastonia. Well, I guess roosters can fight back, but when foxes are in a hen house, the hens aren't deadly, don't have like a lot of armor or deadly weapons that they could use to kill
I don't know. Have you seen?
easily.
I've seen chickens with guns.
Yeah, Chris, at my grandmother's farm, she like leaves a Glock 9, like 5 Glock 9s at least for each chicken, just in case.
Anyway, and also a
That's called the
chicken's
cock
not that huge in comparison. But anyway, the Utah Raptor goes to fight George, and you think they're gonna have a battle, and then we cut to a paleontology segment where they discuss
Yep,
iguanodon. And they find like an
Feels very out
iguanodon
of place.
footprint, and then it goes back to what was going to be the fight, and then the iguanodon herd shows up. The iguanodon herd shows up. I just pulled up their name. It was like Payacoxo, right?
I think so. Yeah, Paracoxo.
Planacoxa, yeah. Planacoxa. So they're these guys. They show up kind of just randomly. They also don't really behave like animals in this scene. Mostly because the Utah Raptors, some of them are eating, some of them are fighting the other Sauropelta, like younger Sauropelta, like, well, teenagers, yeah. They show up right next to them. Like, this is the Planacoxa. This is the corpse of a Sauropelta being eaten. This is a Utah Raptor and a Sauropelta fighting. They're right here. How do they not hear that and know not to go in this area? Because there's multiple Utah Raptors. And so they walk this way. You think they're going to go to the water. They don't go to the water. They just continue walking off. And then the Utah Raptor stops attacking George and then decides to chase after the Planacoxa because they don't have weapons. They're easier prey. You know what else is easier prey? The thing you already killed.
How can you eat your pudding if you haven't eaten your meat?
Exactly.
It's like that one meme where the guy's looking at the passing girl rather than his own girlfriend.
And then it cuts to another paleontological segment. And then it cuts back to it's the Utah Raptors hunting the Sauropelta again. I haven't seen this scene before, guys. How do you think it's going to plan out?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
This also seemed very out of place to me.
Paleontological segment.
Then the Sauropelta are now full grown. The Utah Raptors are apparently starving to death. They don't look like they're starving, but apparently they're starving to death. So they go in for the kill despite the Sauropelta being very well trained and experienced in, from all context clues, fighting the only predators in this region, which is the same exact Utah Raptor pack that's hunted them like 5 times. So George kills the leader. Because this time, when a Utah Raptor gets hit in the face by a Sauropelta tail, it dies.
That's because George is a G.
Exactly.
George can make it clap. I don't know why I said that.
But then they do a kind of a neat scene. they show. I thought I pulled it up exactly. Timed exactly. There's fire in like the dead corpse of the Utah Raptors' eyes. That's another thing Beth brought up. Okay, so the Utah Raptors are starving. There's a dead body on the ground. They're not going to eat the dead
Right.
body. Like, yeah, they may have some. They may have like some limited thing of like you don't eat your own kind. That's usually thrown out the window
Don't get
during.
high on your own supply.
That usually is thrown out the window, especially when you're starving to death, like the narrator said that they were.
Oh yeah, this also leads into the next paleontology segment that just made me go, "What are you guys fucking talking about?" Because they bring up like the next they bring up like the what
The
was it like
pollen.
like one lady was like, "Hey, check out these shapes that look like flat tires," and it's like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, they do a cool scene
Circles.
where
She meant circles.
they do a cool segment where you see like fire in the reflection of the dead Utah Raptor's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But then they pull up this
Is that what
lady
that
who's
was?
like,
I thought it was.
good.
I thought that was just the. I thought that was just the raptor's eyes rolled back.
No, it's supposed to be fire because it like moves a little bit. And then they pull up a paleobotanist, who is like doing research on pollen grains, and yet she describes the shapes incredibly weird. I will say I do think this is a neat segment to include because paleobotany isn't really something a lot of the general public knows about, even though it's a distinct part of paleontology is learning about the fossil plants because not just environments aren't just animals, they're also the plants and the fungi and the rock features and the ancient water flows and stuff like that. And it's kind of neat to look at, especially pollen, because different trees have different modern analogs that like bear fruit or release pollen at different times of year. And so using pollen grains, you can sometimes find out like what season the animal would have died in. Which is kind of a neat thing. It's like how we pinpointed, I believe, the KPG mass extinction event to have occurred in like spring. Because did the KPG. I'm just double checking myself. In, Northern Hemisphere spring. Yes. And they know this because there's a fossilized relative of like modern paddlefish, and we have remains of them. And paddlefish are filter feeders, and so they have like these big elaborate gills to like filter all of the algae and stuff out of the water, like the algae and little plankton. And they got a bunch of the pollen from the trees that were in because the trees release the pollen everywhere it gets in the water. It got in the gills, and then at the same time, you also see the like iridium from the extinction event happen from like the meteor hitting Earth, and like the dust choking the river, and so that got in the fish's gills. And I just think that's really neat that you can like using pollen and other trace elements figure out what time something was alive and what time it died. Sorry, that was probably boring.
No, it's fine. No, I get what you mean now that you like talk about it. Like they bring her in because like it gets to a point where she's like, "Oh, hey, also check out this slide," and it shows a bunch of like charcoal, and then that leads into the forest
Yeah, it's
burning.
evidence like there was a forest fire.
I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say this is kind of how the process works. Like you look at this kind of stuff to find out what happened.
And so yeah, she does serve a purpose, other than just describing shit really weirdly.
Mhm.
I mean, I think we're just being super negative towards her for no reason.
I think we're super negative towards her because if she was like one of 3 paleontology segments, it would have been a kind of a neat side thing to have. She's one of 8. So
That's the thing. This segment feels more in place than most of the other ones.
and like here's the black bits are charcoal, and then this kind of like brown stuff is like the pollen, like she was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So then it cuts to a wildfire, and it cuts to the Gastonia desperately trying to like get out of the wildfire. And then I believe we also see the Utah Raptors in the wildfire.
Yes.
Yeah. And so they end up running to a clearing where there's like this swamp, this like bog area, which is a neat detail because that makes sense that animals would move towards water during a fire. Because that's something you see in real life. A lot of ponds, especially in like prairies and forests, serve kind of a vital role in not just providing water, but it provides a safety area during wildfires that the animals all go into the water hole because the fire can't go through the water, obviously. However, it's also kind of a double-edged sword because it's a very boggy, very muddy land. The raptors are very wary about getting into the water, which makes sense. Then we cut to another paleontology segment. And this one isn't quite as bad because they're going into like, oh, okay. This type of environment may explain something like the 9-ton fossil block of Utah raptor remains we found, where they were buried rather quickly. It appears to have been like they sunk in the mud. And so they were like, this is what happened to these guys. Except we know it's not what happened to them because there's an iguanodont in the block. And there's no evidence of a fire in the block. Anyway.
Interesting.
Then they cut to... I don't know what it is about paleodocs and deciding that raptors need to do stupid hunting during fires. Because they have a face-off with the Sauropelta while everything is on fire. But then there's a tree that falls. And the Utah Raptors because the Utah Raptors decide during a fire next to this water, they're going to hunt the Sauropelta. And I bring up this scene, because it's part of the documentary, but there's a similar scene, and I forget the name of the dinosaur documentary. There's a similar scene where it's like Parasaurolophus and raptors, and like the KPG mass extinction event happens. And the scene is they're in like this rocky canyon area, and so they stop fighting each other because a thing just happened, and so they all go seek shelter together in the canyon, which was a neat scene because it's like, yeah, there's hunting and it's a very primal urge, but there's kind of urges that are more primal than hunting, which is, shit, we need to get out of this natural disaster. And it's how different things can kind of like temporarily set truces. Apparently these raptors didn't get the memo that's a thing that happens, because they tried to hunt the Sauropelta during a wildfire. Then a tree falls that's on fire. Then the raptors try and go around the tree, and they run into the mud that they know is dangerous, and then they die. They like sink into the mud.
Well, no, I don't think they know it's that. The tree falls and they freaked out.
Yeah.
Alright. And then the narrator says, then like, and thus George and the Gastonia gang prevail and now need to find safety, and they try to get out of there, and like the narrator sets it up like, oh, they're gonna make it out of there. They don't. They choke to death on smoke and die. And then you think that's gonna be the end of the episode because it cuts to
Which
like
it probably should have been.
the planet Earth, like it literally zooms out on planet Earth. And then it goes into another paleontological segment, which lasts the rest of the, well, not quite the rest of the runtime, because there's a very brief segment
Weird
with Utah
recap where
Raptor
they
again.
talk more about the guy who discovered Utah Raptor.
Yeah. They basically talk about James Kirkland, how he discovered the Utah Raptor slab, and the work they're doing to uncover this very interesting creature. And then the credits roll.
Am I the only person who thinks that segment right there at the end should have been placed in the middle of the episode, back whenever we were talking about the Utah Raptors in the forest?
Like, we literally have a whole...
Like, they were even reusing footage. They're even reusing dinosaur footage during that segment.
Exactly. Like,
well, yeah, we literally had a whole segment where they went to the block and they talked about the block.
Yeah, and it's not like what's the word? The other videos haven't had issues with talking about the other dinosaurs as we talk about like the main dinosaurs, because remember last episode we talked about the big giant dinosaur that came out of nowhere and ate one of the baby. You guys remember that, right?
It did say like unearthed, so it might have been like a different segment.
yeah, maybe.
So yeah, what are your guys' general thoughts on Band of Brothers?
This is real low.
Probably worst.
Yeah.
Worst of this series, so this new series so far.
Yeah, like this was bad.
So like, I liked the stuff about the Utah Raptors and the George and his gang and all that stuff, but it was broken up too much. The pacing was not there. There's a lot of stuff that's in a bad order, that's not ordered correctly or put together in a good way.
Deus Ex Iguanodon.
And the thing is with they cover the Cedar Mountain Formation in this episode. The thing is with the Cedar Mountain Formation, there's other animals known from the Cedar Mountain Formation. This isn't just like the Carnotaurus Formation, which I forget the name of, where there's like 3 known dinosaurs from the entire formation. There's like, I think 20 known. You have several ankylosaurs, not just sauropelta, but you also have like cedarpelta, Gastonia, peloroplites. Then you have Eolambia, Fiona, Hippodraco, Ayana, Iguana colossus, which is supposed to be like a massive iguanodon, which would have been neat to see. Then you have Platycoxa, Tenontosaurus. Then you have several sauropods known, including Brontomurus and Cedarsaurus. And then you have several theropods known. So you had Utah Raptor. Ceots is also known, which is a neoventurid allosaurid. And then you have Deinonychus known from Cedar Mountain as well, and possibly Acrocanthosaurus, although that's an indeterminate, like it's like a set of teeth. So you also have sharks and turtles and crocodiles. So you have more animals you could have featured. And
maybe they're running out of budget.
I also like. Sorry,
go ahead.
The paleontologist scenes seemed way more numerous in this episode. Is that weird to say?
No.
It's because you kept paying attention to that one guy.
So here's my thinking. if this episode was included, like if the 1999 Walking with Dinosaurs had an episode set in the Cedar Mountain Formation, it maybe would have followed the band of Brother Gastonia. But they would have encountered each of the segments. It wouldn't have just been them and Utah Raptor again. It may have started with them and Utah Raptor and then ended with them and Utah Raptor. But you would have had like a segment with them maybe fighting Seats, or them encountering like the segment with Plaxicoxa maybe would have been its whole segment where they encounter like a vast herd, because they mentioned like Planet Coxa moving vast herds through the landscape. That could have been neat. That could have been an entire segment on its own where it's just like, okay, so you have these Gastonia who are like here, they're used to eating shrubs, they're used to eating brush, they're used to like just scraping by. It's a time of plenty, but now this new threat to them, not necessarily of direct violence, but in that they're going to eat all the food, shows up. So you have pressure like that. They could have maybe even paired up with what would have been neat to do is you had their leader get killed by a Utah Raptor. You could have had them like trying to go back in the forest to like hide again, and then they encounter like one of the other ankylosaurs, like the bigger ones, and they end up like teaming up with them for a little bit. I don't know. Or a threat on the water's edge could have been one of the crocodiles.
The ankylosaur could have taken over the Utah Raptor group. Kizaba.
Or crack thing. The horse girls from that new gotcha game just run in and start eating all the foliage.
Remember how you said earlier that you were tired of the horse things, and then you're the one who brings
Utah
it up?
Raptors could have started smoking crack.
Anyway, you know what I'm. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to get at? Like,
no, I
if
get
this
what you
was
mean.
like in the original series, there would have been more segments with different creatures.
Yeah,
because I'm comparing it to feels most similar to probably Time of Titans, where you're following the Diplodocus herd. Well, in the Diplodocus herd segment, you have them fighting Allosaurus, but you also have them dealing with Ornitholestes, a Stegosaur meeting Brachiosaurus, and the other little segments like the Aurora Nathan.
You know what I think the problem is? I think whoever made like this is just the vibe, but whoever made this revival series looked at the Ballad of Big Al and it's like, hey, I like how they kind of did that. Let's do that instead. Because like it feels like every dinosaur, like every episode has us following like a specific dinosaur from a specific set of like like a specific species, and they always like they get a name, like George gets a name. I can't remember the dad from last episode, but I make like does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Sobek. I don't know what happened in the first episode. I wasn't here for that one.
Clover the Triceratops.
Yeah, like it feels like they're not like trying to do the original like Walking with Dinosaur series. They're trying to do the Ballad of Big Al.
But they're giving it like already half the runtime and then filling half of that with paleontological segments.
Yeah.
Well, over half of that.
Dumpy white men.
It's like a 60-40 thing, where 60% of the episode is paleontological segments.
You leave Kirk alone. He's a hottie.
Anyway, any final thoughts on it?
I mean, I hate to be harsh, but I kind of want to give this episode an F.
Avery said a D.
I like to be harsh. But at least a D. Yeah.
I think a D is fair.
Yeah, D is fair, yeah.
Like, yeah, I liked the designs. There were 3, and one was a cameo.
Technically, there was 4 because there were 2 different versions of the Utah Raptor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one had a red tint to it.
Yeah, brought that up earlier.
That way you knew which one the leader was.
Because you had these guys, then you had the ones with.
Actually, there's technically 5 models because there's 2 different colors of the. I almost called it a gastrodon. That's not what it's fucking called.
Gastonia.
The Gastonia, yeah.
All right. Well, with that, firmly in D tier.
Yeah.
Bye.
Tune in next time where we watch a girl boss T.
so hungry.
We watch a girl boss T-Rex make it through.
You're not even close.